Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Rant and Bollox. We're on a roll here. We're on three in a row. Three in a row, guys. We're proud of
It's a
ourselves.
new record. I think that's a record.
Proud of ourselves.
They don't come out on the same day. They don't have any regular scheduling, but they're out there.
They're out.
They are out there.
There's no rules. We're just
like a pair of sweaty balls. They're just hanging out there for everybody. 3 balls hanging out there.
There we go. And that's the end of the third podcast.
It's not getting better than that. It's all downhill from here.
How's the week been for you, man?
It's good. It's quiet, but my weather's better than your weather, so
yeah.
I don't know why you're still in that shithole, but that's
so
the
you
way
keep
it is.
saying every start a podcast,
I just like rubbing it in your face at this point.
It'll be raining eventually. Don't worry. Be flooding.
I think everybody's going to start wondering, though. It's like, so you guys lived basically beside each other for a year and you couldn't do one podcast. You move 3 time zones away and you get them out every time. It's like, what happens? Like, well, we obviously hate each other. Can't be in the same room together.
Can't be in the same room. Never. But quiet week. Yeah, fairly quiet week for me as well, to be honest. But in the movie and news department, I guess we're all just we just did our Captain Marvel review, and Endgame's approaching, and obviously the Game of Thrones. Endgame, I heard, is going to be over 3 hours, which is pretty damn awesome. So that's going to be jam packed. They were like, they just couldn't edit it under, so it's probably going to have like an hour of extra footage as well, I'm betting.
I'm glad it is, because it's like, you can't have that many characters for that long and just be like, yeah, we're going to make it an hour and 30.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Is there a rule for how long a film can be in a cinema without having a break? Because I seem to remember like Lord of the Rings or something.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. I thought, was there not a Quentin Tarantino film, which it was like 2 films, but it stopped halfway through in the cinema and you came back in for the other? I get the feeling Lord of the Rings, one of them had like a 10-minute break, but I don't think
I know that they put them in just to have, like, out of a courtesy. And the Quentin Tarantino one is because that was their Death Proof was his film, and then I can't remember, the bloody Planet Terror was the other one.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
And they had the intermission in between it because that was only in North America or only in Europe or something, and in North America they showed them as separate films.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember I went to see that in the cinema, and you pay 1 ticket and you got to see 2 movies.
Oh, you're right.
Like the old Grindhouse movies were supposed to be. But in America, they didn't do that because they don't like giving away stuff for free there, like movies or healthcare. So they decided just to, give them 1 price for 1 movie and 1 price for another movie.
Well, that sounds about right, just screw them over.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I'd actually enjoy having a break in a movie anyway. I think I'd rather just see it all, unless it was 2 separate movies, like the Tarantino. But if someone was to come in and the lights would go up halfway through Endgame, I'd be like, no, turn the lights back down. So,
yeah, and the other thing with that is that it's the older movies. I remember, like Lawrence of Arabia or whatever. I think they're nearly 4 hours in some points, where it's like after 2 hours they'll give you a break. But there's no rule on it. It's just, are you going to let everyone sit in the audience there wanting to pee, and then they like, oh my God, I can't leave. What if the Hulk comes out in this moment?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you're just telling everybody, okay, you can go. You've got 10 minutes. Go do your business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it's saying. Yeah, it was actually kind of funny during Captain Marvel, near, like... Maybe it just shows how good the film was, but nearly one of the main end scenes, someone just went to the bathroom. I was like, I've never seen anyone go, like, it was quite an important scene, and it just was like, got up and left. I was like, all right, well, that's great. Guess they really needed to go.
And you gotta go.
Yeah. But 3-hour films, I'm all for it, especially if it's Avengers and stuff. So that'll be good. What you been watching?
Well, wasn't the rumor that the Justice League was going to be like 3 hours as well?
I think there was, but then like they probably did a little peer review. They were like, who would actually watch this for 3 hours? I don't know. The DC fans, I guess.
Yeah, because it came in at like 2 hours, but the extended cut was, or whatever, the Schneider cut.
Oh, you're right.
Like 3 hours.
It's supposed to be a lot longer. Yeah, you are right about that.
Yeah.
So.
Like the extended cut of Batman Superman's 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's a pile of shit with only 2 people in it. 3, I guess, if you count Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have, well, there's only half the heroes as there was in the first one, but there's still a good 12, 13, 14 people in that you want to get through.
Yeah. It's funny. It's
and
only
I
half,
think you said it. I think you said last week, like you kind of laid out how the film's probably going to go. Like the first hour is them dealing with what happened. Second hour is them figuring out how they're going to fight back, and then the third hour is obviously the big conclusion.
Yeah,
and like that's a good point. Like if the first hour you got to go through, like you see it in the trailers, like what's the emotional impact on Tony, on Captain America? Like how are they dealing with the fact that like half the people are dead, like they're just gone.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I know. It's just
that's interesting enough on its own. Like you have to go through 8 or 9 guys who have to do that. Like spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen the trailer, but obviously Hawkeye comes back and he's, from the look of it, he's lost his family. Like they're all gone.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like that's a good character thing you want on your own. You don't want to cut that down and be like, yeah, we're just skipping that so we can get to the fight where the guy punches the other guy in the head. It's like, that's not why. It's not why this movie's exciting. It's not why, like, not for me. Like, I'm not excited about this movie because I get to see them fight Thanos.
Yeah. No.
I'm excited because
and also
Infinity War came out and it pulled the rug out from under us. We're like, holy shit, they lost. Half of the people are dead. Deal with it.
Yeah. And also, Hawkeye wasn't in the first one, and in Ant-Man as well. I'm guessing Ant-Man and his family's got. Well, they have gone because at the end of his second movie. So yeah, you want to see.
I don't know if his family's gone, but definitely
like the two, like the guys. He was
the original Hank Pym is gone, and Hope Van Dyne's gone, and the mother as well. Spoiler's gone.
Yeah. I mean, it will show that, and then also at the end of spoiler. Here with the Captain Marvel asking about Nick Fury, like where's Fury kind of thing. So I mean, anyone that's seen Infinity War will know that he's gone too. But so like she's gonna how that's gonna affect her as well, and she's already super fucking powerful, so she's gonna be pissed. But
do you think? Here's a question: do you think there's anybody who's gonna go see Endgame who hasn't seen Infinity War?
I think there might actually be 1 or 2 people, like they probably YouTube it and they'll be just like, let's just go see this as a laugh, It's kind of funny because like we're
no idea what's going on.
we're so into that universe and like comic books and games and all that lot. I mean, there are people out there who just don't watch these films or don't give a shite, So it's like I don't know, it's very exciting, and I just feel like even if you're not that into superheroes, the fact that there's been like 21 films and this is the 22nd and they all wrap up, that's pretty incredible. That's a big achievement. So I think it's hard not to care.
It's gonna be interesting,
Yeah. Have you been watching anything recently? Any TV shows or movies, or looking forward to stuff other than Game of Thrones and good old Endgame? You did mention something in a text from HBO or something.
Oh yeah, HBO have released Christ, it might be this weekend. Have I missed it already? There was a TV series called Deadwood.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watched it. Cowboys. It's got Ian McShane in it, who blew up after that. We knew him as Lovejoy on TV in England. Then he was in Deadwood and became like this Al Swearingen, this corrupt bar owner in like the Old West. And then from there, he's obviously got all his new bigger kind of stuff. He's in Hellboy, he's in John Wick 3 and stuff.
Okay.
But the series was really good. It was this kind of like very realistic, gritty look at what the Wild West was like, and it was kind of based around the true stories of Wild Bill Hickok and stuff in this town called Deadwood. And it ran for 3 seasons on HBO, and then it got cancelled or whatever, and this was maybe 10 years ago. But they're
Okay.
making a movie now.
Okay.
And the
all right.
movie's coming out on HBO now. So it's one of those great like moments where you kind of see the old characters, all the old cast are back. And I think like it's a send off. Like they're going to wrap up all those stories that never got wrapped up in the past and stuff. And yeah, it's cool.
I've definitely heard about it. I thought it was the other way around. I actually thought it was a movie, and now they're doing a TV series, but it's the other. Okay, that's cool. I'll look out for that for sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch that. And then, oh no, it's not out yet. It's out in. I thought it was April, but it's out in May. So
Right.
they released a trailer for it this month.
Okay.
And I was just like, yes, awesome.
Nice. I haven't watched it, but I know DC released a trailer for Swamp Thing as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I used to enjoy that character, so I'm curious to see how well that is. But I think DC, correct me if I'm wrong, they have their own like streaming service, so I think they're all just coming straight to that. So I mean, this is basically the future. Is like Disney have their own streaming service, DC do, and like Marvel will be under DC and stuff. But yeah, so I think Swamp Thing will be on the DC one. So hopefully they do a good job.
They also have
of it.
another one called Doom Patrol coming out.
Oh, okay. I've not heard of
Seen
that.
that? Yeah,
No,
it's
I've
like
not heard of it.
it's like another team, but a bunch of misfits and stuff. And
So many fucking teams.
oh, I mentioned it last week, yeah, because it's weird because they have a new actor playing Cyborg in it.
Okay.
And Cyborg was obviously in the Justice League movie. Like DC don't care anymore. They
No.
just it doesn't matter as long as they can just make money or make a show or get some viewers. They don't care, which is fine because they might make some good stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah. They should just redo the Joker again, just for a laugh. So new actor.
which they're doing. I think it's coming out in August or something. The
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix one.
Yeah. And it should just
It's going to be so weird.
they should just replace him again directly after with another actor, because that's what they're good at.
Like for people like us who are, like you said, into the universe and we're like, oh, what's this and who's this guy? And we're still confused by DC. Like, how does a regular person know what the hell's going on?
Yeah, you're completely right as well, because we're so into these things that it must be so confusing for them. Just like, I don't understand this, and why is Superman doing this, and why are they fighting? But
Yeah.
very odd.
So is he Batman now, or is that Batman?
Yeah.
Is there a Batman in this one? Because I was watching a show where Batman's still a boy and he hasn't got the Batman suit yet. Is that the Batman in this Batman? Oh God, DC, you're just such a money grabbing bunch of bastards.
I think Gotham have been teasing Batman, the actual Batman look. So I think I vaguely remember
It's their
there was
final
like
season. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of cool. I watched like season 1 or 2, but then it just kind of dropped off. There's so many other things to watch, but it seemed like a half decent TV series. Yeah,
I'd never watched it.
You never
I
watched
just
it,
had
yeah.
no interest in a show that's like, what are you gonna draw me in with there? Like characters that I know aren't gonna die because
already
Batman's gonna
know,
come along in
yeah.
the future.
yeah. The actual characters and the way they were played, like there was a couple of decent ones in there, but you are completely right, and I think we've talked about this on podcasts like a year ago. But it's not the most interesting thing because you're just like, oh, I know what happens here, I know what happens here. It's just like the way they're played with that with the new actors is kind of cool, but yeah, still, it's like the origin of it. You know where it's going to end up. So
Yeah, and from what I've heard, like the first season was supposed to be around Jim Gordon and the police and Gotham and the corruption, and they very quickly kind of dropped that and went to the like, here's the Riddler, here's the Penguin, there's the Joker, and went all kind of goofy on it.
yeah, they went there really quickly. I know they introduced the Joker at one point, but they were like kind of teasing him in like slowly, and then suddenly like all the characters were there, like 10 of them, like really soon after.
Teasering.
Teasering.
Good word.
We're making up new words here.
The other thing, I will say this, is I did get an advanced screening of Shazam.
You did,
And
didn't you?
that's the new DC movie. And what I will say is that's a good movie.
Oh yeah, you enjoyed it, yeah?
Yeah, I will enjoy it. I'm not going to give like a big full review of it, but like it's tied in with the Justice League universe.
Yeah.
In terms of like Aquaman exists, Wonder Woman exists, Batman exists, Superman exists. Like it's that universe. You can see it in the trailer. Like one of the kids has a Batman. What's it called? The Batarang. He's got one of those and stuff. But even though it's not super colorful or super bright like Marvel level, it's still about a kid who gets superpowers, and it's just really fun and funny. And comparing it to when we saw Captain Marvel, you could see in our review, like I wasn't laughing out loud at anything in Captain Marvel. It was like, that's pretty funny. That's the cat thing, but with Shazam, it was actually lots of pretty funny moments in it, and it has a heart to it. It has a good, solid foundation, and is like, that's a good origin story. It's probably my favorite DC movie so far.
Oh wow, that's yeah.
I don't know
good.
if that's a praise or not, but I haven't seen Aquaman, which is obviously your favorite movie of all time. So I don't know.
I know that you were looking forward to seeing it, so I think you went in there with high hopes. But yeah, that's great to know that it kind of came through as well. But was it just more comedy, or did it have like a good structure to it and stuff, and good storytelling?
It had a good structure. The acting was great. The special effects are good. It's funny. The one thing I will say it's kind of weird about that film is it has a touch of like an 80s movie to it, in that it's like Big, like that Tom Hanks movie where there's a kid who gets powers and all that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny moments of like this grown-up who's not, and he's pretending to be a grown-up, whatever. But there's also, if you remember like 80s movies when you're a kid, like when they have bad guys and they have scary things in it, they're like genuinely freak you out.
Right.
And like there's scenes in this film which I'd be like, a lot of parents might have a problem with, like proper murder happens in it.
Oh shit.
Like the bad guy throws somebody out a window, and that guy's dead. Like I'm not spoiling anything. Like the bad guy just takes a guy and he throws him out a window. Like that just happens in it, and it's like, in terms of the tone, like you're going from like a couple of 12-year-olds making jokes to the bad guy is like a proper guy who's murdering people. And I'm like, it's a bit of a shift, but it kind of works. Like just because you're like, okay, the bad guy is a bad guy. This is still the Justice League universe, but the funny bits work, I think, a little bit. And they also make fun of the bad guy. They take jokes at his expense and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing one or two of those scenes. I'm like, wow, they did not hold back on that. They just said, yep, you know what? If you're a kid, if you're 12 or 13, you're watching this, we're going to make this man a very scary bad man. So
what is the
for me, it felt like one of those films like Gremlins or whatever, you know, where it's like, yeah, these things are bad and nasty and people are going to die.
Yeah. It had that vibe in the trailer as well. What is the age rating on it?
I think it was PG-13 because of that.
Yeah, interesting. And I know the
it wouldn't be general audiences.
Right. And the bad guy, I can't remember his name now, but it's the dude from Kingsman, and he's been in like all the Lock, Stock stuff as well. He's a great actor. So
yeah, Mark Strong.
That's the one. Yeah. So I saw a little interview of him. He like jumped at the chance of being just in a superhero film, but he loved that character as well, with a bit of comedy in it. So. But yeah, like
he's a good character, and there's nothing wrong. Like the whole movie's just front to back a really good movie.
Yeah, that's
all
cool.
The actors are great. All the characters are good. The bad guy, even though I said he's a bad guy, he's got good motivation. Like he's not one of these guys who just turns up like, I want to conquer the world, ha 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 ha. Like there's this underlying like part to him, and like it's not going to win any Oscars for a lot of things, but it's really just a good film. To put it like this, I want to go see that again. I don't want to go see Captain Marvel again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's that
so
definitely.
If DC's quality level's going up like that, like you said, Aquaman's good. I say this one's good. Next thing that's coming out is, I can't remember, but the Joker movie probably. Hopefully they're on an upward trend, and if they're kind of just throwing all the universe rules out the window and saying we're going to make good movies They're not all going to make sense, but they'll be good. I'll be happy with that.
That's what I was going to ask is, like, do you reckon this is a one-off? But I think Aquaman, not perfect, but definitely an improvement. This one, I'm hoping they're just not like a one-off because they were fairly close to each other. But I'll have to look up what the next bunch are, because obviously they've had a few actors cancel and stuff like that. But I mean, good on them.
And I know the Joker movie's coming out this year. The Joaquin Phoenix one's coming out this year at some point.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. And it's good to have competition as well. Like, so you can't just have Marvel owning it all. So I'm sure after Endgame they'll be on high again. But yeah, definitely tune into our Captain Marvel review, because we weren't as impressed as a normal Marvel film, but you can see our thoughts on that. But yeah, great to see.
My brief summary is, somebody gives me an option, I'm going to go see Shazam again.
Yeah.
If somebody says, which one should I see? Go see Shazam.
And that's like, at the end of the day, like a review, you can say, hey, they did this storytelling well, right. This guy was acted really well. Oh, the CGI was cool here. But at the end of the day, if you come home and you're like, I want to watch that again, or if you don't want to ever watch, you're just like, if I was to never see that film again, I wouldn't give a shit. That's the way you kind of can really judge a film. And if you want to see Shazam, like if you were to be here tomorrow and you're like, oh, we've got some spare time, let's go see Shazam, you'll be like, yeah, let's do it. But if I was to say Captain Marvel, you'd be like, nah, let's just do something else, So that's, as small as it sounds, that does judge a film. Yeah. That's cool, man.
I hope Shazam does well. It feels like a smaller movie than Captain Marvel does, and I guess they didn't want to spend as much money on this unknown character. But I liked it, and yeah, it comes out on Friday. So Brilliant. If you really want to go see a movie, go see that one. Honestly, it's just fun. You can't really have a problem with it. You're not going to get anything. If you've seen the trailer, you're not getting anything that's not in the trailer. It's that level of comedy, and it's actually funnier than's in the trailer, I will say that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Because usually they pick all the bits. So, good to hear, man. Good to hear. I watched, which is a little old now, but I just watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and absolutely bloody loved that. Like, I know it got good reviews.
Great movie.
I know that you mentioned it was great, but I, after it finished, I was like, boom, I'll watch this anytime. It was great. It was what was it? The art direction and stuff on it. Just everything about that was spot on. And I heard at one point like it was almost like separate films and they kind of merged them together or something. But and it took quite a while to come out. Like I think because of all the graphics and stuff. But I was just very very impressed with that. And they got good old Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's nice of you to say that you liked it after it's already won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Like it really makes a difference that you've endorsed it now.
I'm glad.
Now it's guaranteed to make some money.
Just giving that extra review, just to give it that lift, But a little bit late to the game on that, but just wanted to mention like how impressed I was with that. So if you haven't seen it and you're on the edge, just go. But I'm sure most of you have.
Yeah.
So.
That's our recommendation. Into the Spider-Verse is better than Shazam. I would say that. But I'm a Shazam fan, so I'd actually see Shazam first. But I'd say, go watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, then Shazam, and stream Captain Marvel.
Yeah, there we go.
Here's my review.
In that order. You can stream Captain Marvel as you're watching the other films. Just have it going in your pocket.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it. So.
Yeah, you'll get the general gist of it.
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to...
The other thing I will say real quick with Captain Marvel, though, it's closing in on making $1 billion. So that's good. Marvel, I think, have crossed $18 billion worldwide in all their movies or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not hurting for money.
Oh,
and
not.
all of that makes me think, they're doing pretty good. Until today, I learned that guess this is one for you. The worldwide estimate opening weekend for Endgame. Guess what they're estimating?
I just don't even know, because I don't even know the numbers to the other one. So, like, opening weekend, how much they'd make?
Yeah. So, like, the 3 or 4 days that it's going to open. So, like, Captain Marvel's opening weekend estimate was something like 110 million or something.
500 million?
No.
It's higher, I'm guessing?
It's higher. I'm just dragging this out.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's like then is it like 1 billion or something?
It's close. They're saying it's at least going to hit $800 million.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's one weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if it drops at like the level of like not Captain Marvel, like Batman, Superman, so it loses half of that, it still means it's going to make $1.2 billion.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And they filmed like a lot of it when they were doing Infinity War as well. Like, so they probably saved like some kind of costs there as well, just by doing 2 in 1 kind of thing. But and I'm sure it cost a lot to make. But still,
yeah. I think the estimates are that it's the two of them together are somewhere like 500 million.
Right.
But they've already made all that money back off
the first one.
one.
Yeah. So everything's just profit. So.
Now it's just pure profit at this point.
That's insane. Yeah. That's and I think you tweeted it out on the account as well. People are just like hyped for when they can actually book tickets, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's coming on Tuesday. I can buy a ticket for it. I'm like, I can't make fun of them because I want a ticket as well. But I'm like, when was the last time you were like, I can't wait to buy a ticket for something that's not coming out for another month?
I was checking the site. I was
another 3 weeks.
Checking the site today. I'm just like, I need to go see this. I need to see this. It's like all the seats are taken. It's like I'll just stand. It's fine. So
yeah, I know somebody's out there. It's like, oh yeah, but like I always get excited because I'm going to go buy tickets for a concert. Yeah, but the concert's there for one night and then it's gone. Like, this movie is going to be there forever once it's out.
And then people are just like, come on.
But we're just like, I have to be there on the first day.
And you don't want these little spoilers coming out. Not usually they're pretty good for films, but like you still don't want that, you know, log into YouTube and it's like Thanos ending, you know. So
yeah, so like I'm going on the Saturday. It comes out on a Friday. I'm going on the Saturday.
I will be doing the same thing as well.
And then we'll be
the Saturday for sure.
And then we're recording the podcast on Sunday. So we'll have our review up on the Monday.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure by then everything will have been spoiled for everybody.
Everything will be most likely, but you know, we'll get there eventually. So I'll not.
Because like there's like we're like you said, we're gonna watch it on Saturday and we'll record it on Sunday and it'll be out on Monday. So by the end of the opening weekend we'll have like numbers, we'll have everything. But you know there's somebody who's like watching it on the Friday midnight and like recording a podcast in the fucking cinema lobby and getting that out as quick as possible.
Yeah. And those are usually like the mega big podcasters that have millions of, you know, viewers and people want to hear from them. You know, they want to see their thoughts. So,
but I'm guessing they're going to do the same thing they did with Infinity War, and they're going to lock down the reviews. Like, they're not going to let the reviews out until the final. I think
so. Yeah.
Week or so. It's not going to be like 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out.
No, I think it will be,
because like I said, they're already going to make $1 billion. Like they could get 0 stars from every newspaper in the world. I'm still buying a ticket on Tuesday.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? It's just like awful, absolutely disgusting film. We're like, get me a ticket. Get me 3 tickets.
More seats for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hype fest. The hype train is started. I mean, the hype train's been going for the last year, but we're in first class and we're going fast.
Yeah, definitely. Got to get that VIP
Same
seat.
thing as we're going.
Anyway, that's enough of it. That's the end of Endgame. We just talked
we talk about it so much.
We're just going to rename it. Yeah, we're just going to call it Rant and Endgame. That's the new show.
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? I was going to talk about. I wanted to talk more about this, but they shit the bed, and it's Apple. Apple had a conference, and it's called. It was called It's Showtime, and it was them taking on Netflix. And I don't know if you've heard much about this, but they had it last week. And
no, because they didn't do anything. They didn't have any exclusives or something like that. Like no signed.
Everyone was expecting like the next Netflix, and they'd have loads of shows, and they'd have like maybe they'd undercut them, and you could start streaming one of their shows maybe straight away or something. The rest are coming, but what happened was they didn't have a price. It's called Apple TV Plus, which is a weird name, and then they just got like some actors. They got like Jason Momoa, Aquaman on stage. They had like Oprah Winfrey because she's going to do like a morning show or something for them. They had all these people come up stage and talk about the shows. They never showed a single trailer. They never released the price, and they've just said a vague release, which is the end of this year, which I'm going to put on the record for now and say it's going to go into 2020 easily. Apple are just known to delay things now. So yeah, it was a big letdown, but I was expecting them to put some pressure on the Netflix and have something cool to watch. Like I thought they were going to release it and say, you know, if you already have like Apple Music with us, we're going to give you a discount. By the way, you can start streaming this new show of ours. There's more to come. Like every other month, you're going to get a new show and something cool like that. But they just kind of teased it all, but not in a very interesting way either. So I'm hoping, I don't know when they're going to do it, but Disney are going to have theirs later this year. I'm hoping that's going to be a little bit better. But yeah, I wanted to talk about it more. But I mean that is the future of kind of TV and content, is these little, you know, packages that you could buy. I remember a while back you were trying to get HBO. I think you've got cable now, haven't you, in Vancouver?
Yeah, like I had to get TV to get it.
Yeah. So and that's still obviously a big thing, but for people that stream, it's going to be these little packages. The one thing Apple is trying to do with it all, and I think other companies and smart TVs do this as well, but Apple want to put inside one app, they're calling it like their TV app, and they want to plug in all the streaming services inside of it. It's basically your cable box, because your cable box can get all those channels in one menu, but they want to do it in a streaming format. So they'll have one app and it will say, hey, you can pull in your HBO Game of Thrones, you can also pull in your Netflix Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you can also pull in your MLB baseball, and we'll tell you like where you left off and stuff, and we'll recommend other shows. So one interface, one app, which does it all. But the trouble with what's Apple's happening is they're not plugging in Netflix. Like Netflix aren't allowing them to do that. MLB works, but then the Raptors basketball doesn't work, and then this one does work, this one does. So it's broken because you'll never use that app because only half your shows can pull into it. Yeah, it'll be interesting kind of to see kind of where it goes once their TV service comes out, once the Disney one comes out, and they all kind of mature a little more. So because cable TV's kind of in trouble, but technically cable TV is internet TV anyway, because cable just goes through the internet lines. So, so Apple TV Plus coming, they say. I think it's winter, but I can totally see it going into 2020. Like they say, 2019. Teased a lot of shows. Had a lot of like big celebrities, coming up and talking about like their shows and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see if they dent Netflix, because I know Netflix have been raising their prices as well, and they've obviously got a lot of content taken away from them from Disney with their Disney Plus channel that's coming out. But
But on the plus side, you can't forget that if I do get the Apple Plus TV Mega Box streaming thing, I can pay for it with my new Apple credit card. So it's a win-win.
That's kind of the loophole there. As in, I don't mean loophole, but like it's funny that you borrow money from Apple with their credit card to pay for Apple products. That's what people are doing. It's fucking insane. So
yeah, it's just like they're becoming their own government now. The $1 trillion Wayland Yutani. They're building replicants somewhere. Let's face it, that's what they're doing.
And they also released like a news streaming service, and then they've got an arcade gaming one coming out. I'm like, before you know it, you're going to be spending 10 on music, 10 on their gaming one, 10 on their news, and then probably 15 on their streaming. You're going to be like, hang on a second, I've got like $100 a month going to Apple here, and then you got your cloud for all your photos and stuff. Meanwhile, in the background, Google are probably doing it all for free. They're probably like, because you can back up all your photos onto Google for free and your videos. And this is coming from an Apple Pro guy. Like I like Apple. I like their products, but they've really pissed me off recently.
It's like you said, they're Apple products. I like Apple products. I think they're not designed for this market. They're just like, they think they kind of are because they have iTunes, but it's a different world. Like, you can't just put Jason Momoa and Oprah on stage and think you're going to compete.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, sure.
And from somebody who does have cable TV now, and like I'm not watching 99% of what's happening on my TV, but the stuff that I am watching, that I'm finding like on my HBO, and I'm finding on everything else that I'm finding, like movie channels and all this, the competition is ridiculous.
Oh,
like, you do not have it's the most dog-eat-dog world I can imagine right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you would know because you're producing your own shows as well.
And like, and it's this world of, if like, we're always talking about Avengers Endgame. That's the only thing on our heads. Like, you cannot get away from that. It's a monster of a product, and it's probably the biggest one in the world. But you've also got Game of Thrones. You've got the Deadwood thing that I'm interested in, but you're not. And it's just like, to try and get my attention, Apple are not going to win it because of Jason Momoa or a celebrity. That would have worked in 1985, but it doesn't work in 2019.
Yeah.
Like, no one cares. It's kind of why we went through this whole world revolution of rebranding. Let's bring out Lethal Weapon again. Let's bring out MacGyver. Let's bring out all the movies. Let's remake The Thing. Let's remake Halloween. It's because we recognize brands and we want the same brand, and it's comforting. But I think the world has kind of grown sick of that, and they want original stuff now. So now you're trying to find who's got the next Stranger Things, who's got the next Barry. That's one of the shows I'm watching on HBO.
Okay.
Apple don't understand that it's not like the old system where you just curate everything. Like you said, it's not like you can just tell everybody, oh, you can access everything from here, just like with iTunes. It's like, no. You got to sell me something brand new that I have to watch.
Yeah, 100%. And
that's
like
it.
And Apple have so much money that I feel like they're just throwing their hat into the ring, but they're almost like, we might fail, we might pass. They've they've tried it with iTunes before, and they've tried to do a social iTunes, like where artists can sign up and people can follow them and chat to them. And it started off as a Ping, like a service called Ping, and then I think there was one called Apple Connect. They both like failed horribly. They tried to be kind of like MySpaces a little bit, which is obviously dead as well. But like they try it, it fails, they delete it. They try it, it fails, they delete it. Unfortunately, I think this might be another one of those things where they're just like, hey, people like Netflix, let's give it a go, And they do have a lot of shows lined up.
Yeah, they don't care. They've got too much money to worry.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And it's just like...
I'm still thinking of Amazon. They're currently getting ready to start their filming for the Lord of the Rings series.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm super excited for that. Everybody who's a Lord of the Rings fan is excited for that. And... apparently there's some Chinese trilogy that Amazon paid a bunch of money for the rights for, so that's going to be a big seller. But it's like, yes, that's an adaptation. Yeah, you're taking stuff that's already been made, but at least that's exciting. It's going to be a brand new show. It's going to be something from a world that you're interested in. I can't believe Apple fucked up that badly.
Yeah, I think it was the biggest headline after was just like, if you were to look through their whole conference that they had, nothing was announced or released. Well, I mean, things were announced, like their service, but there was no details at all. It was literally just get some high-profile people on stage, and that was what people took away from it. And then now people are questioning them, and they're worried about them as well, because they're like, you didn't actually give us a date, you didn't give us a price, and also, sure, you showed us, like Oprah Winfrey came up stage and said, hey, I love Apple, I love TV, I love this, but you didn't even play like a 20-second clip. Like you could have just shown like maybe a little montage reel. They didn't even do that. So, which means like they're not ready, they're not finished, they're panicking, and and they've been doing it with other things as well. But just very disappointing, because obviously when they announce a conference and it's showtime, you know, we want to talk about it. It's exciting. New content's coming. But when you shit the bed and you're a company as big as Apple, it's just like, what the heck?
And I was just thinking of, like you're saying, the streaming service from Disney. That hasn't even officially been announced, but we know that they're already making a Star Wars series called The Mandalorian. Like, we know they're already shooting Star Wars content for their streaming service. So like you said, when Disney do have their big announcement and their big gala event, they're going to show the trailer for their brand new Star Wars show. And they're going to show you Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're going to show you Frozen 2, and they're going to be like, all of this will be available, like from the first days of Disney to the future of Disney. And you're going to be like, well, I have a child that's between the ages of 1 and 65, so I'm going to have to get this Disney Channel.
Yeah, 100%. And that's called marketing, and Apple are supposed to be good at that. So, you're 100% right,
man. Disney roll in, and they've got all the Marvel movies, all the Marvel TV shows, all the Star Wars movies, all the Star Wars TV shows, and then they've got all their movies and all their Disney kids, all their Disney networks. That is a hell of a package to sell.
Yeah, I mean it's an easy package to sell, but also I'm actually really curious of how much they're going to charge, because I feel like they don't need to charge that much, because they're just so bloody big anyway, you know? It doesn't need to be $20. I think they'll just kind of roll in with Netflix and say 10 to 15. They'll probably do like tiers, like watch them in 4K and all that lot. But I'm just curious, because there's so much content. They could probably charge 20 plus, couldn't they?
They could, but if they're smart, they will undercut Netflix.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because like you said, like financially, they're not reliant on the streaming service. Netflix are only a streaming service. Yeah. Disney are making Marvel movies. They're going to make $1 billion this month. They're not going to worry about it. They got Frozen 2 coming out. It's a good money maker, but I don't think they need to make money off it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, totally right. When you lay it out like that, it's like, they're making these Marvel films that are just raking it in, and plenty of other ones as well. Like Lion King's just gonna fucking eat up the box office as well, even if it is just a CGI remake. Yeah, they played that trailer.
I saw the.
Is that what you're gonna say? You saw the trailer?
Oh, did you see it? I didn't see that. No, I saw the trailer for Dumbo.
I've been hearing some odd things about Dumbo.
The stupid elephant.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for it, and now the reviews are out, and it's not doing so well.
Oh, is it not doing well? It looked a little odd. It was nice to see Colin Farrell in it, but I'm not really connected to that film. I don't have any desire to see it. I'll watch it on DVD or whatever.
Yeah, I just like that it. I don't like that it's not doing well, but like I had my rant about it. I don't agree with this idea of just making a live action version of your cartoons and cashing in. And the Blue Willy fiasco is like kind of okay now, but it's still like, Christ almighty, just make a new movie. You've got Pixar. You own Pixar. Like, you can make new movies.
Yeah. You mentioned that on the last podcast as well, how I think Beauty and the Beast didn't do too well either.
It did good money, but the reviews weren't spectacular for it. A lot of people weren't. The people who went to see it from their great memories of the cartoon version didn't walk away from this version with the same sense of magic. They're just like, yeah, it's a live action version, but it's not my Beauty and the Beast. It's not the one that I'll think of when somebody asks me about.
I feel like Lion King is going to be exactly like that then, really. It's not going to be anything new, is it? It's just going to be a complete remake. It's going to look beautiful, but it's going to be nothing else to it, is there? As big, and then you got something like Frozen and Frozen 2 and Frozen, and obviously it's a completely new story, and so that's more engaging. But like Lion King, yeah, it's just going to be a remake. I mean, Aladdin as well. They're all kind of just going down the same route, but it depends. Like, I'm not a huge Disney person. Like, I didn't watch all of those films growing up, so I'm not as connected to them. Maybe there's got to be plenty of people out there that are going to be like, oh shit, it's Lion King. I definitely want to see this. But yeah, I'm definitely on more on your side of saying I don't think there's anything too special of just enhancing the film. It's almost just like having an enhanced version, you know? Because it's the same
it's
thing.
like bringing out the 4K version of a movie. It's like, okay, it looks better, but don't release it in the cinema again.
The funny thing is, they did actually bring out 4K version of Lion King recently.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought, made me think of Star Wars. I'm like, Disney do this all the time. They re-released the bloody Star Wars.
Hell.
But that was Lucas. He did that when he put all the new special effects.
I remember growing up, and I had like
the directors.
Yeah, I had the VHS box sets, and then I had some kind of. I think for Christmas I got like the deluxe edition. But I remember looking at them thinking, what else is new? Like, what else can you do? So, and then the DVD.
If you still had them, they'd probably be worth a bit of money.
Yeah, I don't think I do. I remember they were in like a black and gold box as well. Like quite nicely done. But
so what else do we have to talk about, give out about, and hate? Because that's all we do. We just spew negativity into the universe.
Movie-wise, I don't have too much. I do have a bit of like gaming news because there's been a couple of more VR news, just some exciting VR news. But
oh yeah.
I think the last thing just on the TV stuff was with the Apple is the only other thing Apple are doing, which is good, is they're branching out. So iTunes is now going to be on smart TVs. So you're going to be able to get them on Samsung, LG, and then like Sony and stuff in your smart TV function. Which is good. So at least like iTunes just used to be all Mac and then like a crappy app for PC, but now they're branching out. So if you do buy a lot of iTunes content, you'll be able to kind of get them on your Samsung TV and shit like that. So that's a good thing. It's always good to have competition.
Here, I got something to say to Apple right now. This is for everybody who works at Apple.
Shame.
I had a feeling she was going to come out. So
shame.
have you been using that app? So
now and again, just walking in the street, talking to people. When I see women that I don't agree with, I'm like, shame, and then I call her a witch. You know, the way things used to be, the good old days.
About right, you know, and that's also why you moved away. So, because
that's also a lot of court cases that I have to get away from.
But yeah, so just with VR and gaming and stuff, like I know we used to do quite a bit of it. Some news just on like kind of in general. PlayStation have been doing really well with VR, so they announced like they sold 4.3 million headsets, and that's kind of for PlayStation. It was PlayStation VR started as like a bit of a hobby for them. So to sell 4.3 million, it's done a lot better than they thought. So with the new PlayStation 5, which will be announced either the end of this year or next year, they're most likely going to ship with another headset as well. So like you'll have a choice of getting VR, which will be cool. The reason why PlayStation have done so well with it is because it costs it's the least costing one, so I think it's like $300, whereas the Oculus and the Vive and stuff from Steam are like $1,000 and stuff. But recently there's been a lot of kind of movement in the VR market, and Oculus announced a new headset called like the Oculus S, and it's just got better specs. Spec-wise, it runs faster. it looks sharper when you put the helmet on. It's more comfortable. But the big thing is you don't need those cameras. So whenever we play VR, you need like cameras set up in a room, and there's a lot of wires that could be hanging around. So these new headsets, and all the ones coming out from now on, and the PlayStation 1 will have this as well, is there's cameras on the actual headset, and they track your room. Like they can look at your room and they can see, okay, there's a wall there, and it could also track you and your hands. So they can say, oh, look, I can see his hand is there. It's behind his back now. It's here, and the cameras have like a nice wide field of view. So that's a big plus. And then these headsets are coming out, and then there's a big one announced by Steam. So the guys that do the Steam store on the PC, and they're battling out with like kind of Oculus now as well, because Oculus last week announced their new headset, and everyone's like, oh, it's Facebook, it's Oculus, this is going to be great. And then Valve announced their one to come out in May, and they're going to release lots more details, but their one apparently might be wireless, but the field of view, so when you put on the Oculus, if you've seen any of our videos and we've got it on, it's kind of like looking through ski goggles, so you can definitely see kind of darkness around the edges. After a while of playing, it kind of goes away, and you kind of get into the gameplay. But this new headset from Valve is going to have a much wider field of view, so you won't see that effect. So you're really going to be brought into that experience big time. And then as well as that, they've got these controllers, which when you wear them, they're called knuckle controllers. And a little strap goes onto each of your hand, and what that does is that you can actually flex your you can either make a fist, or you can just like release your fingers, but the controller still stays in your hands because you've got like a little strap around your hands, and it can actually pick up your individual fingers, so you can actually move every single finger and it'll pick it up. And then they've also got like a grip function, so like a pressure pad, so you can actually pick up like a tennis ball or a squishy ball and squeeze it, and you'll see yourself squeezing it. So say for instance like a gun, you can pick up a gun on a table, but you have to actually physically move your fingers round the clip and stuff to pick it up, and then you have to squeeze to pick it up, because if you didn't squeeze enough you wouldn't pick it up, kind of thing. So they're really getting some nice details there as well. As like I said, the field of view is going to be nice and wide, so you won't see that ski goggle effect. And yeah,
but it's also like, it's that kind of jump up, like you were saying to me, of like the trajectory of video games. For example, when we were playing like Dizzy's Quest on the Commodore 64, and then you're playing Sonic, and then up to where we are now at Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's that huge 30 years of growth. But with VR, like I haven't played in a year, but I remember you were telling me that the game we used to play, Gorn or Gorm,
yeah.
There's like a newer version of that you've just played. So it's been basically a year. Same type of game, which is you're going into this gladiator arena and you're fighting and you've got weapons and you're killing guys. But you were telling me like that the new one that you played just wrecked your head. It was so good and so immersive that you were just like, this is at next level.
Yeah.
Like it just messed you up.
Yeah, 100%. It's just things are it's still VR right now, where we are with VR. It's like the Atari times, with Pong, and it's just going to get better and better. And the last 6 months, it's kind of been shooting up, like the quality of games and experiences. And that one that you were talking about is just like more realistic graphics, and just like you can grip your sword, you can throw your sword up in the air and catch it with your other hand, just like the weight and the physics. And it's just and there's going to be iterations. There's going to be sharper graphics. It's going to be eventually they're going to be able to track your feet and legs, and then I was chatting to my brother about this. He said when it will get him interested in buying into the system when there's like a 360 treadmill. And he mentioned the movie Ready Player One, and obviously that's quite far away. There are 360 treadmills out there that you can buy, but they don't work as well as they should and stuff. But I think it's a super exciting time. I really do see the future of gaming going this way. It's a little worrying because I have like a son as well, and he's probably going to grow up with it. But it's very antisocial, but it can become quite social because you can see a lot of people in there. Like for instance, when you were playing a year ago, Paul, there's like when you go into a game, you're kind of in a house before you select your game, and there's like a room. So that's completely changed now. So when you're in your house, there's other people. If you can invite people around, or you can make your house public, and people could just be walking around. And because every headset has a mic on it, you can just chat to people, and then you can see their hands and stuff, and then they're working on like facial expressions and stuff. So you can talk to a lot of people through this. You can browse other people's houses. If you like a particular house, you can have a portal in your own, so you can just quickly get to theirs, and it's just like a little door, and you open the door and you go into their place, and then all the voice is kind of what do you call it, like spatial, so you can like, you know, if they're far away, you don't hear them as much and stuff. So it becomes quite social that way. But I mean, yeah, just playing a game like that is pretty special. And I think the next year you'll hear me talking about it quite a lot. But with these new controllers, the new headsets, the fact that you don't need to set up those cameras. Like I had these cameras in my room, the wires were all over the place. I eventually put them into my ceiling and like hid the wires just to kind of have it a nice setup kind of thing. But you don't need those anymore because the headset all just does it for you. So I think that's super impressive. And then yeah, as soon as we get these kind of 360 treadmills, that'll be another level to it as well. But and then going on to this as well, I actually sold my Oculus Rift. So I had the Oculus Rift, I had the whole setup. I sold it for a pretty good price, and I'm waiting for one of these headsets to come out, and I'll get one, and then you can see on the channel some of the experiences that we can do. And then maybe, well, we'll see how good they are, but we'll try and get you to get one as well, Paul, and then maybe we could do some
get a review,
get some multiplayer that way. That would be pretty good, pretty sweet. But that
would be awesome.
Yeah, because the Oculus, like I mentioned, the Oculus Rift, they're calling it the S, which is basically like the PlayStation, and you got the PlayStation Pro, or you got the Xbox One and Xbox One S. It's basically their other
the Scorpio.
Scorpio, yeah. They actually, like Oculus said, it's taken from the Xbox. Basically, they put the S, we put the S. So everyone was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's the one to get." And then just 2 days ago, Valve, the guys that make Half-Life and stuff, they announced theirs, and then with some better specs, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this could be incredible." And then the last thing was with that Valve headset is there's a rumor that they're going to release it with Half-Life, but a new Half-Life game. It could be a prequel. It could be Half-Life 3. I don't think it will be Half-Life 3. That's like a megaton game, but something in the Half-Life universe. And I don't know. I know you've been playing games for a while, but I don't think you've been a PC gamer for so long, Paul. But Half-Life is a crazy big game in the PC universe. But Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2,
I know it's super popular.
and the rumor is that when Half-Life came out and Half-Life 2, well, I mean, I was around when they came out. They were revolutionary. They were incredible games. Like I'll always remember playing both of those games, but especially Half-Life 2. There was just something with the physics and the storytelling, and the game was next level. It was way above its time. And the rumor is that Valve have always wanted to do that for Half-Life 3, but the competition out there's so many great games out there. There's so many big studios out there that it's hard to kind of have that generation of like leap of game. So they could bring Half-Life 3 out. It could have great storytelling, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be running down a corridor with a gun in your hands, like with a mouse and keyboard or with your joystick. So their thing is they'll release it for consoles, but it's actually meant to be played in VR in their system with those new controllers. So they'll make it because they're making the hardware and they're making the software. So if they released, I don't know, if it was Half-Life 3 or a prequel, you're Gordon Freeman, you can pick up the crowbar, and if you were to just move your fingers, like the crowbar would slide down your hands, and as it slides down, you get the rumble, and then you just grip it again, and you got the crowbar, and you can pick up a gun. you can slide the clip in, but you've got to slide it in properly with the 2 fingers in your controller. Like if they get all those details, and that's the company that can do that, it could be that megaton kind of release that they want, and it's like no one else can do this because it's only in VR or it's played best in VR. So that's going to be announced in May. So there could be some pretty huge news in May, and that's going to also put a lot of pressure on Oculus, and Oculus or Facebook. That's a huge company. So we'll see. We'll kind of see what happens in that realm as well. But yeah, just exciting news.
The other thing I wanted to say, though, just as you were mentioning all the tech jumps, or not like the technical specs, is that for me, I still remember playing the VR for the first time, which was just an experience watching like whales underwater and having a light on your head and stuff, and you're looking for sea creatures and stuff, and that's amazing. And all the little bits that you're talking about, like the helmet and the vision, the range that you can see visually, they seem very technical to someone who might not have done any VR, but for when you're in it, it just gives you that extra burst of experience. But where VR is now is unbelievably enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
So all these things are just going to put it on a level that it's sort of out of reach of the rest of the competition. It's no longer going to be just it's not going to compete with just like video games or with movies. It's its own thing once it starts getting its head around these kind of technical like changes and upgrades.
100%. And the other thing is
it'll become its own beast, I think, once these things are out of the way. Because for now, like I said, the experiences are enjoyable, but it's like it's a movie, but you can sort of see depth, and you've got like 3D to it, and you look around and people are like, so it's just a movie. Or you're playing a game, it's like, well, it's a game, and you shoot these things and you move through the streets or whatever. Once the technical things get up to the point where like the graphics are kind of hitting now, once you're in a VR game, it's not going to feel like anything else you've done in any other kind of entertainment area.
Oh yeah. And I think with VR as well, it's experiencing it. Like, you tried the Oculus here and you were like, oh, this is incredible. And you can talk to someone tomorrow and say, oh, have you tried VR before? And most of the time they probably say no, but a lot of them might say, yes, I have, but on their phone. And that's nothing compared to these experiences. But the big issue is getting it into people's hands and stuff. And one route that Oculus are doing is they're trying to make it cheap and affordable for people. So the new system that they announced, the Oculus Rift S, is going to be, I mean, this isn't cheap, but it's cheap for VR. It's going to be, I think, $399, but it comes with everything you need. It comes with the sensors, which are built into the headset. It comes with the controllers. It comes with like plenty of games because they can throw them all in. Whereas this Valve one is like for enthusiasts. It's for like the tech people. So it's probably going to be, realistically, it's probably going to be $899. But it's going to be better graphics and better controllers and stuff. So there's lots of layers of VR. But once that $899 Valve headset, which gives you that ultimate experience, once that in like 5 to 10 years is $299 on the store shelf or $199, that's where shit gets real, because like it's more accessible to people, and you can't tell when you put the helmet on. You're like, oh, there's no black bars on the side and stuff. So I think the problem with VR right now is getting it in front of people. Once you've tried it, I think you're sold, you're hooked, but you just need to get it in front of people and explain to them. It is a lot easier than it looks. Like with the Oculus I just had with the cameras, it was a pain in the ass, to be honest, especially to bring it somewhere. So the big hurdle that the big hurdle they fixed right now is that you don't need
the other thing that you were just going to say that was always a pain was the wire going from the bloody thing to the TV and trying not to fall over that.
And then there's cable management and stuff. So they've got a version that's wireless, and then there's one that still has the wire, but then you can kind of hook it up to your ceiling, but then you've got the fear of hanging yourself. so just a very exciting time.
He went out the way he wanted to.
Yeah. But I do I know we've done some Oculus games or some VR games. I believe that it's the future of gaming, and there's a big future in it. So I'll keep plugging it. We'll keep showing you some VR content, and yeah, just exciting time.
I'm really excited if we can both get on it and we can both multiplayer, because like playing one of the great games like Alien or something in that would be just something
That would be
else.
incredible.
That'd be next
The other
level.
thing we could do as a laugh, this is in the future when you get one, or we both got the same one, we could do a podcast in it. You know, we could sit down and
the first VR podcast. That'd be pretty
we could
sweet.
actually do a commentary in it, because there's an app called Big Screen, and all you do is you invite your friends round and you watch it on a big ass screen on a wall. But you can actually see me, I can see you as an avatar, and you just watch the film. So maybe that would just be kind of funny to do a commentary inside VR. So
yeah, that would be sweet.
There's
Speaking of which, we do have to do a commentary soon.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's either going to be a ranting one or one that we love. We'll have a little think about what we can do.
I think it's got to be a ranting one. I think it's got to be Justice League.
Good old Justice League. Yeah, I mean,
because I haven't watched it since it came out, so I want to watch it again with you and let's just both cry.
I think you're right. I think that's got to be the one. I mean, Batman versus Superman was the one that started us off anyway. So.
Yeah. And then after we do something sad, we can do something happy. We'll flip flop.
I feel like we should do something like Thor Ragnarok, because that was pretty funny. So
that's a good one.
And then we'll have to definitely do the Avengers as well. Well, Infinity War.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
So many things.
We got to start rolling these out. Do one a month, just so we can have it. Give us an excuse to watch movies.
Yeah, 100%. And then we'll have to backlog some of our reviews as well. Get them going. So, but yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for me. It's quite.
I was just thinking that just quickly on your Half-Life thing. I'd say that is probably what they're going to do. Like when we were talking about TV and like how Apple shit the bed and they didn't come with anything new, and you've got such a competitive market. Yeah. If Half-Life want to stand out, being the big player on the VR world seems like the best way of like breaking through all the bullshit. Because like you said, it's if you're competing in the market and you got your Red Dead, like that's the big super seller. That's your Avengers Endgame. Everyone's circling around that. And below that level, it's like, how do you make a name for yourself? How do you get out there? Like if you're not one of the big boys, if you're not your Battlefront or you're not Call of Duty, like how are you getting any attention? I'd say like the first game that kind of nails that, like gets that like the Halo thing, like the very first really successful game on a platform, it changes every game that comes after that.
Yeah, you're completely right, and I think that's what they're going for. The other game that it could be is Portal. It's still a very, very popular game for them, and a lot of people know it as well. And Portal co-op. Can you imagine you and I playing co-op Portal? Do you know Portal, by the way?
Yeah.
Can you imagine us playing that?
Stephen Merchant going
around. Can you imagine
us
playing that in VR, and like I shoot a portal and then you shoot one, but then we have to jump through them. Oh, it'd be friggin' insane. But that's the other rumor. But I'm with you. It's like they want it to be a megaton like drop, as in like this game's coming out. Oh, we've always been waiting for Half-Life. Yeah, it's coming out in VR, or it's best played in VR. You can still play it on your console, and it looks great, but we recommend, and you can only do these certain things in VR, and then that's like, if that drops like that, and people are like, oh, and a helmet is $3.99, so it's like a console. It's almost basically a console, but it comes with that game, that Halo game that you mentioned. It could be enough. It could be enough just to get people on board, and before you know it, you've got hundreds of thousands of users. They're already on it, and then you're like, oh, why don't you try this game? Why don't you try this one? You know.
Yeah, I think the other thing, just as you were saying, like with your kid and how they're going to play it, and like it's not like when we had video games as kids, because when you had a console at home, that's all you had. Whereas now all the social media and the ability to connect with everybody is tied in with your video games. You put your headset on, you can talk to people. You'll meet some assholes, you'll meet some fun people, you'll make some friends. It's just like the real world.
Yeah.
It is the real world, obviously.
Yeah.
So when you're buying an Oculus thing, you're also buying global friendships or global communities. You're getting your Facebook, you're getting your Twitter, your Instagram, but now it's in a whole new medium.
Yeah.
So it's not like just buying a brand new console. You're getting a new experience with it and you're getting new connections with it, but it's not like buying a game. Like once you buy this thing, you can put it on, like you said, and you can start talking to people around the world in a new way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And for like, just for me with like people, how we've all grown up, like I didn't do it, but I know there's people who played Sims and they played Second Life and all these games where you create avatars and you create a new life for yourself and have new jobs. Warcraft is an example of that as well. The RPG mentality of people is like, VR is designed for that.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate way of getting into another world as a different representation of yourself. It's the Ready Player One thing, obviously. And you just get to create this whole new universe and live in it with real people. So the selling points on it are they're hard to explain to people, but there's so much more to it than just buying a brand new game or buying the brand new Halo game.
I mean, to be honest, Ready Player One do a really good way of showing VR. And it's basically, they're showing it at its best. Like you go into a world, but really VR, you can go in and you become the character you want, and you can chat to people, and you can, there's all those things in everything you could do. You saw in Ready Player One, you could do almost right now. It's just in its basic form, and it's maturing, and it's exciting because it's like every year or every 5 years, it's going to mature more and more and more, and eventually it is going to end up like Ready Player One. But people do play games to escape or to just kind of have some fun or release and stuff like that. So it's just another form of doing that. But once you put that headset on, you are transformed to this other world. And even right now, it kind of looks like you're looking through ski goggles. But I mean, you've played it, I've played it. After 5-10 minutes of looking through those goggles, you kind of forget that they're there, and you're in that world. Like as soon as you put the headset on, you're not in the basement anymore. You're in that world, and this year and the next couple of months, it's only going to get better because these headsets, basically, it's version 2.0 of these headsets are coming out, and eventually you're going to be able to track your feet and stuff. So, very, very, very exciting.
Well, that's the funny thing with Ready Player One. Once you think about it, is that Ready Player One is showing the VR world, but it's showing the VR world with the technology we have in today's world, but it's supposed to be set in like 2050 or 2045 or something. Like there's no way VR is going to look like that in 25 years.
No.
In 25 years, it's going to be photorealistic. It's going to look like the holodeck.
It's also going to be tiny. It's going to be in your contacts or into your little glasses. Right now, these headsets, like I'm saying, we're playing in the Atari world right now. Like Troy, my son, in 15 years, when he's playing with his contact lenses, or his glasses at least, he's going to be like, I can't believe you and Paul were wearing those big helmets. But that's actually half the fun for me for doing this YouTube channel and for doing this and to talking about this and for having all these videos on there, because it's a nice archive, isn't it, to say like, look what we were playing, look what we had
so
in our
when we're
heads,
just like, oh, do you remember when this happened and this came out?
Yeah, because it is going to be like that 100%. Like the other, like this is very different to VR, but the other thing I find fascinating is driving a car. Like in 20-30 years, it's all going to be self-driving cars, and then we're going to be like, yeah, I remember when I was at the steering wheel. It's crazy the time, like what technology is going to do. But yeah, VR is just one part of that. But I do 100% see it as a massive medium to go forward, and I think it's the future of.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be like a movie that's going to come out in our lifetime, which is like our version of Back to the Future, where somebody's going to come back to the 1990s and just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
She's like, wait a minute, what do I do here? Car, go. Go car. Car, go. Car, go home. And then someone's like, you got to turn the keys. It's like, keys? What the hell? You got to use your hands? What is it, a baby's toy?
Yeah, what is this circular object? You got to spin it round. Spin it round.
Yeah. So that doesn't sound safe. It sounds like we're getting into a terrible accident. That's why you have seatbelts. Yeah. The fuck is a seatbelt? Yeah.
That's going to seem archaic. Yeah. Even like planes, it's just like you're getting on a plane. You're getting on this like kind of metal craft with two longer metal things. So.
Well, be careful. You don't want to set off the airbags. What's an airbag? Well, what we do is we have a balloon that is tied to an explosive so that when the car gets hit by another car, all these explosives go off and fire the balloon into your head. You guys are idiots. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. I what I saw the other day was an airbag, but for motorcyclists. So like as soon as they hit into something, it would ignite, and then they just turn into a big bag, basically. As they were as they there was like a CGI animation as they're flying into the air. It puffs up, and they just turn into a big pillow, and then. It means that obviously they won't crack their neck and stuff like that. But unfortunately, great concept, but way too expensive. And also, it's kind of like, can you imagine just like going down the motorway on your bike and it just opened up by accident? You just feel like, oh God, you just become a pillow.
You just like hit a pothole too hard. You just turn into the fucking Michelin Man.
Yeah,
oh, shit.
Exactly that.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
But keep tuning in, guys, and we'll keep you posted with VR content. Like I said, I actually sold my Rift, particularly because
that's the latest update. Al doesn't have it. I don't have it.
We don't have it.
Come back for more updates soon.
Unfortunately, I was all set to get the next one, but now that Valve have got theirs announced, I'll wait for it. But it does come down to a price thing.
Yeah,
so
it's probably for the best, because you don't want to. Don't have that buyer's remorse and be like, oh, I should have got the 4K TV.
Should have got the bigger TV. So, sweet. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up for me. What about you, man?
Yeah, that's it for me. I'm looking forward to April. Like I said, it's a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline, and I finally have TV. I can watch HBO. I'm getting ready for Game of Thrones. That's a quick question. Are you going to watch all 6 seasons again, or 7 seasons, whatever it is,
before the other one?
Before it airs, yeah.
I won't have time, but I think we might watch season 6 and 7. There's a couple of people in the office that have been doing them. I just don't think I'll have time to do them all, but I think I'm just going to probably start from there. But there's also a lot of YouTube ones, like that recap, like each season in like 20 to 30 minutes. So those, I might do those for each season, just to kind of do a little bit of a
it's probably for the best. Yeah.
But yeah, that Game of Thrones. I know we talked about it on the other podcast as well. But will they be out Sunday night? Is it Sunday nights?
Oh, yeah, it's always Sundays, because that's the best time for TV, because then everyone goes into work on Monday and go, you'll never believe who died.
Exactly, yeah. So I'll be watching that.
And then you're like, shut up.
Exactly. But April's a fantastic month and a busy month, but it'll be good.
I gotta say, I'm excited for commentaries. I'm excited to get back, watch some good movies and some bad movies. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and message us if you want us to talk about a particular topic, and tune into our Captain Marvel review as well, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening as always.